Hello, Crusaders fans, and welcome to Burnlore Stadium on the college campus of Capital University, where we bring you a men's soccer match. It's been a while since we've seen the men's soccer team, but they've been up to some winning things, coming in with a conference record of 2-0-1 as they play host to Wilmington College today. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Jimmy Bloomfield on the Capital Sports Network. A lot to get to in our pregame show, so let's just jump right into it. First, we'll jump around the world of Capital Athletics before getting to our men's pregame show. Let's start with OAC Men's Golfer of the Week, Daniel Schaefer. Schaefer was named the OAC Men's Golfer of the Week yesterday on October 13th. It's the top finisher for the Crusaders at this weekend's Cougar Classic, hosted by MVNU at Chapel Hill Golf Course over in Mount Vernon. He ended with a first-round score, the best by 2 strokes. Turning at a 71 and 1 under par on the scorecard. He finished tied for second after shooting a 75 in the second round through the golf course. Finishing with a total score of 146. His 71 was the second best score of the season for him and of his career. Earlier this season, he shot a school record 69 on the second leg of the ODU Fall Kickoff Classic. So congrats to Daniel Schaefer. The team as a whole finished 4th at the Cougar Classic. And another OAC Player of the Week, as well as the Crusader of the Week, Chloe Brown of the women's soccer team. She had a really big week. First off, the team won 7-0 over Muskingum, and Brown scored a goal and added 2 assists in that game before hitting the game-winning goal in the 89th minute against Otterbein in a dramatic comeback win for the Crusaders. They trailed 2-1 with about 15 minutes to go. Jennifer Vandeventer tied it up with about 11 to go. And then the goal again in the 89th minute off of a corner kick and a mad scrambling from the net. Brown just tipped it in and was able to lock up OAC Player of the Week honors because of it. First Crusader to win OAC Player of the Weeks on the women's side this season. The women's team was in action yesterday against Wilmington, a team that has been a pretty big surprise on the women's side. They're 8-5 overall. And 2-2 in conference play after Capital knocked them off 4-1. Capital improves to 4-0 in conference play, 8-4 overall. Becca Cartmill and Monica Nike both scored twice in that game. Erica Good added a goal for the Quakers in the game's last minute to ruin the shutout for Kim Leach, but she had a nice day in goal. Good to see her back in there as well. And 2 assists for Claire Quinn. Of the 4 goals, again, Cartmill scored twice and Hanike scored twice. Cartmill stays hot. She scored against Otterbein as well. Taking a look at the women's standings after Tuesday's action, all OAC teams that were actually in action for the women yesterday. So we have a full updated standings through 4 games. Capital and Ohio Northern tied atop the conference at 4-0. And conveniently, they played this weekend to kind of settle that top spot. No surprise to see Baldwin Wallace right there in 3rd place with a 3-1 overall record, as it looks like it could be a 3-team race, and Capital plays Baldwin Wallace the last game of the season again, and that could very well determine the conference regular season title. Wilmington is 2-2 in conference, as well as Heidelberg and Otterbein, and interesting that Otterbein lost back-to-back games. Again, they hadn't lost in the regular season in the OAC in either of the last 2 seasons, but they fell to Ohio Northern on Tuesday, having a bit of a tough stretch facing Capital and Ohio Northern. So Otterbein's at 2-2, but we expect to see them kind of stay in the race as well. Heidelberg and Wilmington tied with Otterbein for 4th. Then 3 teams at 1-3, Mount Union, John Carroll, and Muskingum, and Marietta rounding out the bottom at 0-4. They're still looking for their first win this season. They're 0-14 overall. So, again, Capital facing off with Ohio Northern on Saturday. It's going to be on the road. Big game, though, as either team will move atop the conference with a win to 5-0 overall and be the only unbeaten. Of course, they could tie and remain atop the leaderboard, but we'll see what happens there. Let's get to the men's side now. And first, let's go over the schedule for tonight on the OAC men's side. We have a full slate of games, I believe. Actually, we have 4 games, as John Carroll knocked off Heidelberg yesterday 3-0. Marietta beat Muskingum earlier today 3-0. And 3 night games on the schedule. Of course, the Capital Wilmington game here, Mount Union and Baldwin Wallace face off, and Ohio Northern hosts Otterbein in a red card cancer game. Earlier today, Brian Gosser sat down with head coach Alan Yost. They talked a little bit about the recent stretch for Capital as they find themselves 2-0-1 to start off conference play. One of 2 unbeaten teams in the OAC. And Ryan sat down again with Coach Yost and talked to him about the recent stretch of games as well as what to look for from this Quaker team today and a little bit of the injury bug hitting this Capital team. That interview's coming your way.
We go along in the Capital men's soccer pregame show. I'm Ryan Gasser, and alongside is head coach of the men's soccer team, Alan Yost. And Coach Yost, first of all, congratulations on the recent stretch of games. You're unbeaten in your last 3, 2-0-1 in that time, and it seems like the offense is clicking and just at the right time now that you're in conference play. So what's changed?
I think we're getting a little bit more blue collar. We're a little bit more of a hard-working type team. We've maybe been less cute with our play and a little bit more direct, putting teams under. But I think our out-of-conference schedule was just absolutely brutal, and getting into conference play is nice. It was also getting some kids back from injury, but it looks like we'll be back on that same page again tonight.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But first, the last couple of games you've taken either into overtime or double overtime. Obviously, it requires a lot of endurance of your players. So is that a point of emphasis that you had on the team in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, fitness is always going to be something that we focus on. We look to make sure we have a foundation of not only working hard, but being able to work hard over an extended period of time. We've been fortunate enough to have 2 away games and to get a point out of every game up to this point. I guess you can look at it as a good thing, even though I think we probably dropped 2 points against Otterbein, and we just got to do a better job of finishing our opportunities, and it's just kind of how it is.
Now, obviously, the box score tells you a lot. Obviously, the goal scorers, people that make a lot of saves, but there obviously have to be people that played well that are your unsung heroes of this last 3-game stretch. So who's played well that you may not see their play in the box score?
Jacob Pulliam's done a fantastic job. Captain, started every game since he's been here. It's been nice to get him back from injury. He's contributing very, very well. Daniel Boonshoe, a freshman, has also done a very good job in the midfield. Has been very solid, helping us connect passes. And then A.G. Basiakos as a center back has done a fantastic job all year.
Now, talk about your opponent tonight. You go up against the Wilmington College Quakers, who come into today's match with an overall record of 3-10, and they're looking for their first OAC win of the season. Does their struggles make them a more dangerous team? Is there a larger tale to tell about their struggles?
Yeah, I think, their backs are against the wall. They're trying to get a point out of every match at this point to make it to the conference tournament. So, there may be a little bit of desperation with them, and those teams can be very dangerous. And we've never really matched up well against Wilmington. They're generally a bigger team, a more physical team. It's going to be important that we mentally and emotionally keep our cool, look to dictate play and not allow them to try and change what we're trying to do.
Do you know of any of their key players that Capital fans may want to keep an eye out on today?
Nick Toney, number 6 for Wilmington. He's a senior, one of 2 seniors, and they are a younger team, but he's very, very pacey, very good. And then their number 7 does a very good job as well in the midfield, shooting from distance, set pieces. So they're going to look to hit us on the counterattack. We just got to keep playing in front of us and make sure we always have an eye on Nick Toney and respect his speed because he is very fast.
Now, last year, you and Wilmington had played to a 2-2 draw, and you had a 2-goal lead and lost it there in the second half. So what's different between these 2 teams that will indicate what may happen tonight?
I think it'll be a similar story, is that we'll try and dictate the play, generate a lot of goal-scoring opportunities, and keep possession. But, they're going to be physical. They're a hard-working blue-collar team, and we can't allow the refs or the other team to dictate what we do and how we do it. We, again, got to be cool, calm, collected, and just focus on ourselves.
Now, you mentioned it earlier in this interview, Coach Yost, that your team getting back on the injury bus there, it was a problem in the early goings of this season, and now it's starting to rear its ugly head once again. What can you tell us about the team's overall health coming into today's match?
We'll be missing probably 4 starters today. One is he's only at 60%. Chewy, it's a decision we've made just to kind of let him try and play through pain. He's good enough where at 60% he can still score goals as he did last game. Despite the minutes he's getting, he's still very dangerous. We just, have to monitor him. And then we'll be having a whole new formation. We'll be moving Cam into the center back, who's been a starting for us for the last, I think, 6 games. And so we'll be missing a senior center back and then a starting center back as well, and a couple other positions. So it'll be interesting today, but I think it's a good opportunity for those guys who haven't maybe seen enough time or are going in a new position to feel like they're challenged and they can prove something.
Last coach for you, we'll tee it up for you so you can hit it out of the park with all of this creativity that you're going to have with the lineup today. What are going to be some of the keys to victory against the Quakers tonight?
Keep them pinned in, generate goal-scoring opportunities, not allow them to get the game stretched, allow them to maybe get us out of our rhythm through, fouling or being physical. And we got to just maintain our style of play and not get timid and just keep trying to generate goal-scoring opportunities after goal-scoring opportunities.
Well, thank you very much. This has been head coach of the men's soccer team, Alan Yost. Best of luck to you today, Coach. And we'll kick it back out to Jimmy here as we go along in the men's soccer pregame show. I'm Ryan Gasser for Capital Athletics.
And thanks again, Ryan, and thanks again to head coach Yost. We will step aside. Well, actually, the anthem's pretty much wrapped up as it is, so we'll just stick here and go to our starting lineups. Again, thanks again to Coach Yost, and a lot of interesting stuff there in that interview. A lot of insight about this Quaker team, and despite coming in at 0-3, it sounded like Coach was a little bit worried about how this team matches up with the Crusaders, and obviously you heard a lot there at the end about those injuries, and that's definitely going to play a key role in this game, as is reflected in the starting lineups. But we'll start with the Quakers first. Nick Latessa, freshman goalkeeper, gets a nod for the Quakers. Joining him will be Taj Shue Johnson, Chris Burke, Benny Spurk, Niklas Martinsson from Sweden, Niels Osterberg, also from Sweden, Ethan Zemper, Steve Bissell, Jason Altmaier, Daniel Kaplan, Jesse Berman. These starters, lots of freshmen in there. By my count, 7 freshmen, including the goalkeeper Latessa there. So a young Quaker team with a lot to prove today against the Crusaders. For Capital, Justin Neiswanger gets the start. Obviously, him and Funk have kind of been rotating just like last year. Neiswanger gets the nod today. And here's the starting lineup joining him. Hunter Steyer, Daniel Bunshu, Hunter Booth, Calvin Saunders, Mario Suarez, Jacob Polium, Chewy Gordon, Cameron Bryant, who will be playing as a center back, as you heard in that interview, usually a forward for the team, Con Blakely, and another new starter, Dominic Zumponi, a sophomore from Sunbury, Ohio. We have not really seen a lot of Zumponi this year, and he's going to have to step up in the absence of Spa and Alexander Baskos, both out today with injuries. So a fresh new center back alignment, and we'll see how they do today against the Quakers, kind of just getting thrown into the fire here. We're underway. The Quakers in green and black, moving from right to left, while the Crusaders are in their home whites, white pants, white tops, and moving left to right as it's played back to Neiswanger, who launches it up the field towards number 6, Daniel Bunshu. And Bunshu works it up the left side of the field, and already the Crusaders under attack here. Polium still having that wrist issue, or finger issue, that kept him out of action early this season, still playing with a taped up hand on his left hand. That's what you see there. But as Coach said in that interview, he's been just fine. Hasn't really shown up in the box score yet, but that's kind of just the game of soccer sometimes. And we'll see if Polium can get involved today. Good steal in the midfield, meanwhile, by number 18, Connor Blakely, one of the young freshmen that gets a lot of playing time on this Crusader team. Played over to Suarez, who tried to push it over to Chewy Gordon. Gordon trying to save it. He did. Actually, he says goes over the end line. It's going to be a goal kick for the Quakers. Neiswanger on the season has played in now 8 games, allowed 12 goals, has a 1.91 goals against average, an overall record of 3-2-1. with 1 shutout on the season. 24 saves for him as well, with a 66% there. Capital gets another attack going. Gordon. Saunders chips it back to Gordon now. Gordon went for a long cross there on the ground, trying to get it towards Blakely. It's kicked out of bounds by the Quakers to set up a corner kick. 2 minutes into this one. Latessa has started 10 games for the Quakers of their 13. 22 goals allowed this season, has a 2.19 goals against average, 42 saves, and a 3-6 overall record. Again, much more saves because the Quakers allow much more shots. Speaking of shots, that was a corner that was headed away by the Quakers. Looks like Pulliam was the one who kicked it into play, and the Quakers stand tall. Coach says a very physical team that'll be looking to make counter pushes, and here's one right now. Pushed out in front. Neiswanger moves up to play the ball, and the Quakers miss it just wide as it kicks off of the water bottle of Neiswanger just offside the post. That was Taj Shoe Johnson making a run all the way up the field. Number 2 right there with the bright neon shoes. And a huge break for Cap as a big counter off of that corner kick misplayed by the Crusaders. Good passing by the Quakers to move it up the field. A good through ball to set up Shoe Johnson, and he just misses wide. It'll go as a shot in the book. Wide left, and Wilmington has the first shot of the game. A couple of players to watch for on the Quakers side. Nick Toney again, heard it in the interview. Obviously going to get a lot of attention today. Number 6 has 6 goals this season. Nix Martinson is another one that you just pointed out. He has 2 goals and assists this year. The only other player on the Quakers with multiple goals. They've gotten goals this season as well from Grady Garrison, Benny Spurk, Niels Osterberg, Trayshawn Pat, Taj Shoe Johnson, and Ethan Zimfer. Some reserves in that list of names. This one's last off the Crusaders and goes out of bounds. Suarez plays it forward. And we're told that Chewy Gordon, his real name is Sheldon, was limited with some sort of injury. Has not played in some games, has played limited minutes in other games, so it'll be interesting to see how much he plays today. As we're told, he's at about 60%, but still out there as a starter. Basiakos, again, out. And, of course, Josh Spa out again, as he started the season injured, came back for a couple games there, and he has, once again, hit the injury list. Interested in seeing if Bryant will get moved from his center back to a forward at any point. But that's why you see Gordon out there kind of occupying where Bryant would usually play. And it's kicked out of bounds again. On the original roster from last season, Bryant was actually listed as a defender but played mostly as a forward. This year he is listed as a forward. And obviously there's a great deal of switching around throughout the season, and injuries happen, obviously, like we're seeing with the Crusaders, and players get moved around all the time from position to position. And Bryant, I guess more of a forward now, comes back to the defense. And again, that's kind of the matchup to watch, the center backs for Capital, how they hold up against the Quakers. Set piece kicked forward here, headed on towards the net. Looked like a shot was blocked that time from Zupponi, one of those center backs that we were just talking about. Good job by the sophomore. Cap moving quickly now into Quaker territory. And that had to be Saunders who made that give and go pass, cutting towards the net. And it was Saunders, so quick. Saunders obviously the player to watch for the Crusaders. He has 5 goals this season in 12 games. Hunter Steiger has been on a bit of a hot streak now, second on the team with 3 goals. He has 3 goals in his last 2 games. Kick forward here. Including he had 2 goals in one of their more recent games. I believe it was the last game out. As the Crusaders get things going again the other way. It's definitely kind of controlled the pace of this game, and that's what we expected going in. And it was going to kind of be up to the Quakers to produce enough counters off of Capital's pushes, and they have another counter attempt here. Niswanger rushes at the goal, and that one's going to go. So Niswanger tried to stop that play himself, a simple dribble from Ethan Zimfer. And we were just talking about the counterattack from the Quakers, and they score early in this game, 1-0 Quakers. That was Zimfer, who found the back of the net for the second time this year. Just a simple through ball to get past the defense. Niswanger was all the way out by the 10-yard line on the football field to contest that. Dove at the ball and missed. And now the Crusaders will get a corner quickly. Actually, last game's goals against Otterbein were scored on an own goal, and then Sheldon Gordon, Chewy, scored as well. In the previous two conference games, a 1-0 win against Muskingum. In overtime, Steiger hit the game winner. And the game before that, this conference opener against Mountain Union, a 3-1 win. Steiger scored 2 goals in that game. So he had 3 in his last 3, but had a 2-game stretch there where he scored 3 goals. And that was Steiger again, who got a shot blocked, and then a shot goes wide that time from Mario Suarez off of the rebound of that blocked shot attempt, kicked on by Steiger. Josh McDaniel also scored in the Mountain Union game. 0-3 Quakers coming into play here, and Capital 2-0-1, one of 2 unbeatens, with Ohio Northern being the other at 3-0. And those two teams will meet up this weekend at 2 o'clock here on the Capital Sports Network. And hopefully Capital wasn't looking too far ahead to that one, as they've got their hands full now. The Quakers trailing in this game. Overall records, Capital 4-7-1, Wilmington 3-10-1. Capital had a little bit of a brutal non-conference schedule, playing teams such as Thomas More and Case Western was Reserve, as well as Ohio Wesleyan. They had a couple games where they lost by just a goal. They opened to Albion, they lost by a goal. They lost to Thomas More 4-2. They lost to Case Western 2-1. Lost to Hiram 1-0. Lost to Transylvania 2-1. Lost to Denison, another good team, in overtime 2-1. So lots of 1-goal losses on the year as well. And they've had a nice little start to conference play to turn things around. And that's a good time to get hot in the soccer season. Gordon went for a left-footed shot there that had no chance of going on goal, but it was knocked down by a defender. Looked like number 8 there for Wilmington. That is Niels Osterberg. And here's another through ball, headed on towards Niswanger as Shu Johnson was out in front once again. Capital with just 1 shot in this game so far, none on goal. Wilmington has 2 shots, and the only one on goal being the one that found the back of the net. And it's kicked away by Wilmington. These two teams played to a 2-2 tie, as Ryan alluded to earlier in that pregame interview. Capital had a 2-0 lead in that game before Wilmington scored twice to send it to overtime and come out with a tie. And pretty much a must-win for Wilmington at this point. You're a third of the way through conference play. Still no points in the standings. That one is soared into the crowd. Wilmington kind of in desperation mode, needing to win. If they win, they will move into an interesting position. I think they will actually be tied for 7th with Mount Union and Baldwin Wallace. Of course, there's some games left today to decide all of that, but the team that is in 6th place right now, which is the last spot in the OAC tournament, has just 1 win right now. It's Otterbein at 1-1-1. So a win for Wilmington today would put them right back in the conversation. Even a tie would put them back in the conversation as well if they could pick up a win or 2 in their next couple games. They started off with Marietta, Ohio Northern, and John Carroll. Ohio Northern and John Carroll, 2 of the better teams in the conference. And Marietta also at 3-1. So every team they've played has 3 wins in conference play already. Ohio Northern 3-0, and John Carroll and Marietta 3-1 apiece. So kind of the same story for Wilmington, a brutal non-conference schedule and a really brutal conference schedule as it's starting to lighten up for them. And this could be a win that catapults them in the right direction. Looks like Chewy Gordon chasing after that one in the box. It's going to stay in play. And then Gordon dribbles it off a Quaker. And it's ruled off of Gordon's foot last for a goal kick. Wilmington played that same Case Western Reserve team. They lost 1-0. They lost 3-0 to Denison as well. 2-0 to Transylvania. So a couple of similar opponents and similar scores. So you can't look at the 3-10 record and get the full story. And obviously they played to a tie last season, so it is a close comparison between these two teams. Capitals had a little bit of an easier run with the schedule so far in terms of the conference standings, as they have played off against Otterbein, who's in 6th right now. That one had to go off Quakers there. That's the right call. Blakely kicking it off of Benny Spurk. And the Quakers header throwing away as Saunders gets going. Capital also faced off this season. As I check the schedule, they faced off with Otterbein again in their last game, then Mount Union and Muskingum. And Muskingum right now, as a header by Gordon is saved, and that's going to be a corner. Chewy Gordon has looked really good. If this is him at 60%, I can't wait to see him at 100. And Mount Union 1-2 in conference play, and Muskingum 0-4. So Capitals had an easier run with the schedule. Wilmington's had a much tougher run with the schedule, and that's kind of why you see the differing records. Pulliam will execute the corner kick at the 31-30 mark. Wilmington still leads 1-0. Goes for a simple pass to Blakely, and then Blakely's pass is kicked away. So nothing doing at all there on the corner. Bryant with a header to try to keep the pressure on. But Wilmington mounting a counter, and this is how they've gotten their 2 shot opportunities today off of counters. One of them being off of a corner. Let's see if they try to launch a through ball. Looked like they were trying to do something there, but it was instead kicked right at Zumponi. Pulliam trips over the ball, recovers, and gets it out to Boonshoe, who sends it over to Blakely. A couple of freshmen working together. Steiger trying to put it out in front of one of them. And the Quakers will recover it as Latessa just rushes at it and picks it up. Latessa, freshman out of Englewood, Ohio, went to Northmount High School. Quakers about campus to campus is about an hour away, maybe a little over an hour. That's kicked right at Nicholas Martinson. And here's Nicholas across midfield. Beautiful through ball. One dribble there goes a little bit too long, and Niswanger boots it away. That's Saunders trying to keep it in play. Capital's going to get the ball as it goes off the Quakers. Saunders with a nice little pass to Boonshoe, but Boonshoe had nothing to do with it. Headers it towards the keep, and that's it. Josh McDaniel is waiting to check in. He's the sub, if you can see him at the bottom of the screen there. Maybe you will in a sec. Number 15, McDaniel, a sophomore again from Cincy. Shue Johnson with a dribble towards the goal, but Niswanger easily scoops it up. Niswanger with a low missile for a boot there. Saunders with a header. Here's Chewy Gordon going after it. And I would assume McDaniel is going to replace Gordon, as they said he kind of be on a minute restriction. About 16 minutes into this one. Looks like they're trying to get it to Shue Johnson again. He puts it out in front of his teammate. Spurk has it now. diving as he shot that towards the net. Niswanger actually scooped that thing up. I thought it hit off of him, but he was able to recover it. Smothers it for a nice save. The Quakers keep possession after the goal kick. Here's the captain trying to get it again to the goal scorer, Zimfer. That was Osterberg. Have seen much from Nick Tony, and that's the guy we've been told to watch for. Tony's still not on the field. He was not in starting lineup. Cap tried to get something going there. It's poked away from Saunders. Boomshoe back to Saunders, who's back on sides. Saunders sifting his way through. Beautiful pass to Gordon. Gordon dribbling around the keep and scores. Nice moves in the box from Gordon as he deked away from a defender. Then Latessa rushed at him. He deked away from him. And back-to-back games with a goal for Gordon. That's his second of the season. Chewy was awfully close to being offsides there, too, and a couple of Quaker players raised their arms trying to get that call. Gordon got away with it and takes advantage. McDaniel does indeed replace him, and it's a good thing he didn't replace him a couple seconds earlier, as Gordon ties this thing up. All level at 1 apiece now at the 28-minute mark. 28 minutes left to go, I should say. So that would be the 17th minute for that goal from Gordon. Pass that went to the keep. Didn't make it there. The defender played it away before Blakely could get a foot on it and bury it off of a huge mistake that would have been. Kicked out of bounds, and the Quakers will keep things going. We will keep an eye on some scores around the conference as well. Otterbein and Ohio Northern and Baldwin Wallace and Mount Union squaring off. Both of those games still scoreless as of their last update. Otterbein again at 1-1-1. Ohio Northern at 3-0. Otterbein trying to move up in the standings, get near the top. A loss would drop them to 1-2-1 to start their conference slate. Ohio Northern looking to stay unbeaten in that one, so that's a good one. Mountain Union and Baldwin Wallace, both teams there 1-2, so that's kind of a big swing game for both of those teams, as a win or a loss could be the difference between 1-3 or 2-2. Obviously, 1-3 not a place to be. Beautiful through ball out in front of Suarez now, and he goes down hard. And a late whistle. And Suarez, I think, was just outside the box. He got ran over, but that was a really late whistle. It looked like they were going to let them play on from that. And honestly, probably wasn't too much contact. Just Suarez is so quick and so smaller than the defender. When Osterberger moved over and hit him, kind of just flew Suarez to the ground. It looked way worse than it was. But nonetheless, a free kick coming. Pulliam chips it towards the far post, past the far post, a centering header, and a volley gets blocked. Another shot gets blocked. McDaniel had the first, and Boonshoe had the second. Both were knocked down. And here's Cam Bryant as the last line of defense, trying to get it out in front. To Saunders, who popped it up in the air, surprised himself. Beautiful cross. No one's there to receive it. And it's kicked out of bounds by the Quakers, and we can settle down for a second. .25-20 left to go in the first half, and already a goal each way, 1-1. The header trying to get to Saunders. Defense all over that little play. And it goes out of bounds for the Quakers, for the Crusaders. A quick throw in and back in business again. Whistles blow, and I think they got Booth for being offsides there. If you take a look at last year's standings, again, these two teams were close in the standings. Capital ended up as the 5 seed, finishing 4-4-1. Wilmington was 3-4-2, so one less win, one more tie. They were even in the loss column with Capital. but ended up as the last team out with 11 points in the standings. Marietta had 12 with a 4-5 record. And Wilmington finished the season actually 8-8-3 overall last year. Capital was 10-9-1. So both teams have taken a couple of steps back in the overall win-loss column, but none of that really matters once conference play starts up. Still an NCAA spot on the line. No matter what, you just have to win the conference tournament. Simple as that. Under 24 minutes now to go in the first half. A goal kick coming for the Quakers. Updating the shot totals, Capital now out in front in that department. 4 shots, 2 on goal, as opposed to 2 shots for the Quakers and 1 on goal. Again, both of those kind of came off counter transition opportunities. Quakers have not really set anything up and passed it up the field to earn a shot like the Crusaders have. Quakers have kind of just taken advantage of mad scrambles and popped a couple through balls out in front to get their opportunities. And again, there's nothing wrong with that style of play, and it's what Yost expected coming in. And Shu Johnson is called for the foul, even though he got the worst of that contact with Steiger. Niswanger sends it to his left. Boonshu works it right back to Zumponi. And Zumponi's pass is taken away as McDaniel got a touch on it before the Quakers stepped in. Stop and go move, and the Quakers trying to get something going again from their passing game, but they have not been able to do so. Spurk does a nice job of keeping it in play, and then it's launched by Booth up the field. Effortlessly kicks it about 50 yards down the field, and the Quakers clear it away. Suarez ready to receive that throw-in quickly, but they don't go that way. Suarez gets it off of a header from his teammate. Kicked off the Quakers again. And they will try to throw this one into the box, probably. Big throw. Didn't really make it to the center of the box like he intended to. And Spurk kicks it away. Benny Spurk, a freshman from Wilmington, Ohio. 5'7", 140. Listed. It's headed back and forth by the Quakers a few times. Honestly, probably a little bit of a generous 5'7" for Spurk. But he is quick, and he's been active around the ball today. As well as Taj Shu Johnson, who's actually listed as a defender, kind of like what we were talking about with Bryant being listed as a defender last year, even though he played mostly a forward. Shu Johnson, kind of the same case on the other side. He is also very quick. First sub of the day for the Quakers, that is going to be Grady Garrison. He replaces Steve Bissell. Tony has played in 12 games this year and has 6 goals. And again, we have not seen him today for Wilmington, and the fact that he's played in 12 games leads me to believe he missed his last game. A shot attempt is waved off as an offsides is called. I think that was Blakely who took that shot. Wait for him to turn around so we can get a number. Kicked away. And Capital Jacob Polium, nice job of just knifing through there to break things up. And that is Blakely. He receives the pass. McDaniel listens to Coach as Coach yelled to change the field. Saunders chips it forward to Steiger. Here's Hunter Steiger in the box. Kicked off of a Wilmington player and goes over the net. Looked for a second there that was going to knife right into the top corner. It had some nasty curl on it. Chris Burke with the defense there. And it's going to be a corner for the Crusaders, a chance to take the lead for the first time today. Wilmington scored first. At the 7th minute of this game, they scored. Crusaders answered. And now a header that goes wide. That header was Hunter Steiger again. Active as an outer back. Again, has 3 goals in conference games this year. Tops on the team. Gordon has 2 now. Quakers control their punt and play it back to their defense now. Looking for a through ball again to Shu Johnson in a foot race with Steiger. Shu Johnson won the foot race and then kicked it off of Steiger. Another substitute for the Quakers. This time it is Clay Zira. Clay is from Albania. Spells his first name K-L-E-I. Pronounced like Clay. Clay Zira. He replaces number 11 Steve Bissell. And as I was saying about Tony, he is our player to watch today, but I don't think we're going to get to see him. As he has just 12 games on the season, he must have missed his last game, which has forced him out of action tonight as well. Quakers steal an inbounds throw in there. Played back. And the Quakers slow things down again. Have to feel pretty good about being tied right now, but getting that quick goal early in this game, I'm sure they wanted to hang on to their lead for much longer than they did. They are killing time here, just stalling almost like they have a lead. Not really making any kind of effort to push it upfield. Here we go on the near sideline. And stepping in is Bryant. Polium in the midfield. Going after that one. Taken away by Grady Garrison. Garrison tried to work it up the field. Goes off the foot of Zimponi. Spurk had it momentarily. Saunders playing a little bit of defense. As again, the top 2 defenders in the center back position out for the Crusaders. So Saunders lending a helping hand defensively. And the Quakers push it out of bounds after good pressure there from McDaniel. And Saunders getting ready to throw it back in. .35 left to go in the first half. McDaniel crosses. Kicked away by the Crusaders, or by the Quakers, excuse me, in the box. Berman that time kicking that one away. Another steal for the Crusaders. Nice moves from Boonshoe, and his shot gets blocked. And it might have been an unintentional block by Burke, who was kind of just running to catch up to it. Here comes a corner for the Crusaders. They break from the top of the box. And the cross was a high looping cross. Trying to volley another one was Blakely. And here's Shu Johnson. This is where the Quakers have burned the Crusaders today. Look at Shu Johnson fly down the field. Suarez trying to catch up to him. And good job of blocking that shot by Cam Bryant. Shu Johnson taking off, beating Suarez in a foot race. He had the soccer ball dribbling in as well. Suarez is no slow dude. The Quakers almost get a significant opportunity. Bryant was there to help him out. Shu Johnson from just outside the box down to Spurk. Spurk crosses, looking for a touch. And I believe Spurk was offsides. So the Quakers will turn it over just like that. I believe we saw a sub check onto the field for the Crusaders and another one getting ready to come on. It's Brennan Uhrig. Uhrig, a sophomore from Marietta, Ohio. Uhrig is listed as a midfielder. We'll see who he comes in for. Suarez, meanwhile. Beautiful pass to Saunders. Saunders' left foot goes just wide. Nice pass by Suarez to get it out in front of Saunders, though. And Saunders obviously wants it on his right foot rather than his left, but is still skilled enough to play with his left foot. Saunders upset with himself. That's one he wants back. And he heads to the bench, actually, as Uhrig comes on. And Uhrig actually was the sub that I thought came on earlier because its jersey was squished together and looked like a 28. Or it's a 23, and Uhrig replaces Saunders now. McDaniel and Uhrig, the only subs we've seen from the Crusaders so far. This pass in the direction of Uhrig, who's all by himself out here. Not able to handle it cleanly. Does control it now. Goes for a cross, and it's going to hit off the side of the goal. So Uhrig already getting in on the action. This is Urig's first game of the season, actually, that we've seen him play. As he has not recorded any statistics on the stats this season, not even a game played for Uhrig. And this is where the injuries have put Cap, testing their depth. You can kind of say the same story on the women's side with Van de Venter. She had not played much for the Crusaders. Got a little playing time in that Muskingum game. Scored twice. Earned some playing time in the Otterbein game. Scored again. Scored a game-tying goal on a nice move from just outside the box and kind of crossed it in, which set up the game winner for Brown a couple minutes later. So maybe Uhrig can kind of be like that spark plug from Van de Venter, earn himself, I should say, some playing time with the opportunity that coach has given him. 12:20 left to go. Caps men's team, much like the women, trying to remain unbeaten in conference play through the first 4 games. There's 9 games in conference play. So almost at the midway point already, as this conference season is flying by. Bryant missed his initial clearance there. Now clears it away. As sirens go off in the distance here. Big steal for the Crusaders. Suarez on a through ball, gets some space. He kicks it right off of the keep, though. Nice job by Latessa to run up and contest that shot. And now a long shot attempt there from Blakely. And Suarez might be a little bit shaken up. And he is limping right now. Actually behind the goalie. And he's whistling, trying to get some kind of... I think he's trying to get the attention of the official that he is hurt. I don't know what they were looking at. They didn't see it. And actually now another player down on the field. It looks like Shu Johnson is trying to help out Bryant's with a leg cramp. So Bryant goes down on one side. I was looking at Suarez behind the net on the other side of the field. He's still limping back to field. Bryant's going to have to come off. And you're already down 2 center backs in this game. And now Bryant, who is shifted towards the center back, is going to have to come out. So you're under your 4th and 5th string there. Replacing him is Brian Lookscheider, who actually plays midfield for the team. And we've seen him in some midfield action, but now he's going to try his run at center back. Oh, this is just becoming a disaster. Suarez is still limping at midfield, meanwhile. As the Quakers get it back and play it all the way to their keeper, much like they usually do with the injuries in soccer. A sporting move to kind of clear it up the field. That one hit the hand of Steiger, but the officials didn't see it. Shu Johnson plays it. Kicked away by Zumponi. Shu Johnson crosses it back in. Quakers trying to get some kind of shot up. Pass is played back, and the Quakers will have to reset things now. Couple of nice moves here. And kicked away by the newly entered Lookscheider, but he kicked it right off of Blakely. 10 shots now for the Crusaders. As that number's kind of jumping off the page. Only 3 for the Quakers. Pass to the box, and it gets knocked down again. And a Quaker goes down. Think he's all right. Goes out of bounds, and the Quakers will throw it back in. That is Osterberg. He sends it over to his teammate to throw it in instead. Garrison sends it forward. Might be a corner. Actually, it goes out of bounds before it goes to the baseline. So just a throw in for the Quakers. Under 10 minutes to go. Set piece shot there. Knocked away by Hunter Steiger. And the Crusaders will turn upfield the other way. Here's Uhrig. Uhrig's got some options. Polium's calling for it across the field. Uhrig feels the pressure. Nice job to pull it back. And a couple of drops for the Crusaders as they try to work it up the field again. Here's Zimponi. Zimponi off the chest of a Crusader. Shot over to Uhrig, and that's going to go out through the baseline. Shane Rue will come onto the field now. Rue has played in, I believe, 9 of the 12 games for the Crusaders this season. That's correct. 2 goals. Tied for 3rd on the team. Also has an assist. Rue started a lot of games for this team last year and was a big forward contributor for them, including a game-winning goal against Otterbein. So Rue's in there now. .8:30 left to go.
Now for your Crusaders, number 3, Shane Rue.
Rue, kind of the French-sounding name with the R-O-U-X. That's how you spell it. He was trying to get a through ball there from Suarez, who appears to be okay after he was limping. Next sub is, actually Blakely is who came off for Rue. That's who Yost is talking to. We won't see a sub. 8 minutes left to go in the first half, still tied at 1 apiece. Wilmington kind of in a must-win game to get back into the standings. Capital trying to remain at the top of the standings on that on the second line of the standings, right below the 3-0 Ohio Northern Polar Bears. They're at 2-0-1 right now. 7 points. Hopefully that tie doesn't come back to cost the Crusaders in the end. Obviously still in control of their own destiny. If they win out, they'll win the conference. Pass from Boonshoe goes to McDaniel, right back to Boonshoe, and he drops it back to Steiger now. 7:15 to go. Uhrig to Zimponi, and Zimponi plays it over to Luckscheider. Luckscheider's pass goes past a flopping Suarez. I don't mean flopping as in he intentionally flopped. I just mean flopping kind of like a fish there in the middle of the field. He was looking to get a call from the official. We haven't had many stoppages, come to think of it. In terms of fouls, we've had plenty of goal kicks and out-of-bounds throw-ins, but no real serious fouls in this game yet. Suarez was fouled earlier, and he usually draws a good amount of them for Cap. Very active player. Quakers slowing things down once again. 6:22 to go in the half. Dancing around, this is Jason Altmaier. Altmaier played it over to Spurk, who's trying to cross it in. Polium gets hit hard, and there's a whistle right on cue after I said there haven't been many. That's the 4th foul for Wilmington. Capital actually does not have any fouls. So just 4 fouls in this game. All for the Quakers. Neiswanger kicks it away. Headed away by Osterberg, who has looked really good in that center back position for the Quakers. Quakers putting it out in front again. This time running down that one was Zira. Zira goes down. Good clean defense from Zimponi. But his clearance pass is knocked down again by Osterberg. Here's Osterberg. Has some space, dancing around, puts it on his left foot, then his right foot, spins it back to Spurk. Spurk tried to kick it, hit off his own teammate. Shu Johnson trying to play it. Steiger hit it away from him, but the Quakers were able to regain possession. Ostberg had it taken away by a slide tackle from Steiger, and he's called for a foul. First foul for the Crusaders, and it's going to set up a free kick from just inside the 15-yard line. And Spurk will probably just pooch a corner towards the net and hope to get a touch. Osterberg might be the guy to watch at 6'2". Number 8 in there. He's at the top of the huddle there. He's moving towards the end zone. Right where about an extra point would be snapped from. That is the man to watch. Let's see what they set up. Spark towards the front of the net. Nicewanger missed his punch, but no one got a touch on it at all. It's going to be a goal kick. Might have been offside on the throw-in also there, as the official kind of pointing out. Actually, that was just a goal kick. Forget that train of thought, as it's going to be kicked away by Nicewanger. Getting an offsides on that play would be quite a mistake. Good job by the Crusaders to not allow a shot attempt off of that piece. Speaking of shot attempts, Mario Suarez. A turnover right at the top of the box, and he launches it in. He made that look easy. Just recovered a loose ball and pops it in the back of the net. And it didn't look like anything was even developing there for the Crusaders, and they had themselves a lead.
Capital goal by number 9, Mario Suarez.
For Suarez, that's going to be his first goal of the season. And it appears he's just fine after limping earlier in this half. Not even 10 minutes ago, was limping up the field. And he's fine. Gives the Crusaders their first lead. Looking to add to it now. Good pass from Polium. But it's too far out in front of McDaniel. Spurt kicks it off of Polium, and Cap getting some good momentum as Suarez gets the goal. And after a nightmare start, Caps battled right back and put themselves in a position that we more expected them to be with, protecting a lead. Suarez out in front of Urig. Oh, he called offsides at the last possible second there. And I think that was a fair call. It was close. Certainly close. 2:45 played forward by the keep. Latessa cross midfield. The Quakers trying to tie this thing up. They're being outshot right now 11-3. Let's see who that one's kicked off of. It's kicked off of the Quakers. Scratch that off of the Crusaders. The Quakers have a thrown in quickly into the box. This Cap just has to stand tall for 2 minutes here, and immediately they get a steal, ending that threat. Stolen right back by the Quakers. Osterberg's going to let one rip, and a good save by Nicewanger, and then he dives on top of it. Good job to stay with that thing, as that was Osterberg, who has got a good right foot from that center back position. Osterberg this season has a goal on the year and an assist. Nicewanger missiles one up the field. Here's Shane Rue. He's got fresh legs. Came in as a substitute. Rue still battling for it outside the box, and it's taken away. Quakers kick it away. Might stay in play. Booth trying to keep it in play. Actually kicks it off of his leg. And now the Quakers will throw it in. Let's see if they try to push it up the field in the last minute 20. Played back conservatively. Now they shoot one up the field. Kicked up the field the other way by the Crusaders. And the Quakers across midfield now. Chipping it towards Shu Johnson, and Steiger heads it away. Urig has all kinds of time. Plays it forward, gets it right back, and then loses it, trying to get it to McDaniel again. Here's another through ball. And it seems like the strategy right now for the Quakers is to just launch through balls, whether they be in the air or on the ground, and hope that the Crusaders mess up defensively. Put out in front of Rue, that's going to go out of bounds. Yeah, that through ball strategy, at least the last 3 or 4 times, they've just shot it up in the air, and it's been headed right back away by the defense. And that center back position, which has been kind of a key for us today to look at, due to the injuries, testing the depth there, and another injury to Bryant is going to test the depth even further with Luckscheider and Zumponi playing there for what we would assume would be the duration of the second half. Not really sure what other options Cap has there, and we'll see what kind of options they come out with at the end of the half.
2, 1.
That's the end of the half, meanwhile, on the field, but I believe the set piece will be played. And the clock is actually stopped right at 0.9 seconds. So he pretty much just has to go for the goal here, as the ball has to go into the net at the end of the clock. Here's the kick. It's going to go a mile high in the air, and I don't think it would have counted anyway. And a break for the Crusaders as the horn kind of saved them there at the end of the half from that set piece. Crusaders lead 2-1. Good last second goal, or last couple minute goal there by Mario Suarez gives the Crusaders a lead. We'll come back and talk through the statistics and preview the second half in just a little bit. Stay tuned to the Capital Sports Network. And welcome back to Byrne Lore Stadium. Capital 2, Wilmington 1. After a half of play, the goal scorers for Capital. Suarez scored the deciding goal in the game right now. If this score holds, would get credit for the game-winning goal. And Chewy Gordon had the game-tying goal. He played the first 15 minutes of the half and then came out. As again, he's kind of injured right now, playing hurt, and he looks good hurt. Like I said earlier, if this is him at 60, can't wait to see what he looks like at 100%. On the other side, the goal scorer for the Quakers was number 10, Ethan Zimfer. I'm Jimmy Bloomfield. You're listening to the Capital Sports Network. Thanks for tuning in. As always, a good one tonight, and hopefully the Crusaders can keep this advantage and take a 3-0-1 conference record into this weekend with first place Ohio Northern, who is in action today. We have two other games on the scoreboard. Again, we had two finals as well. Let's get to the finals first. John Carroll defeated Heidelberg by a count of 3-0, and Marietta defeated Muskingum to the same score, 3-0. Muskingum fell to 0-4 after the loss. Marietta moved to 3-1. John Carroll matched them at 3-1. Heidelberg drops to 5th place at 2-2 right now. Kind of a muddled middle. And pretty much anybody's conference still outside of Muskingum at 0-4 right now. Wilmington at 0-3 as well, and down here it's not looking good for them. But Baldwin Wallace and Mountain Union, they playing right now. They are tied at 0 apiece. Winner of that game moves to 2-2, is right there with Heidelberg and could make a run still. So lots to be settled, but we'll see how that goes over the second half of conference play. Crusaders off to a good start and hopefully finish it off with a win. I mentioned Baldwin Wallace and Mount Union, both scoreless at half. Otterbein and Ohio Northern also scoreless at half. If that score holds and goes all the way for a tie, Capital would move into a tie with Ohio Northern if the score holds here and be atop the OAC with a huge game against Ohio Northern again at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Wilmington gets things going.
Guys, music.
And that one goes out of bounds. And I think it's going to be off of the Quakers. So they had an immediate push up the field there. And Niswanger was there to defend as well as Zimponi. Lickscheider's still in there as the center back, as the injury to Bryant forces the 4th and 5th string in that spot on the field. It's going to be tough for Wilmington to kind of attack that weakness, as a lot of rushes come from the outside and work their way in, and Wilmington might try to go right at the teeth of this defense instead. They try to go outside again. Zimponi kicks it away. Capital's very strong in the outer back position with Booth on one side, Steiger on the other. Steiger's on the far side of the field now. Booth on the near side. Again, if you're just joining us, Capital in white, moving from right to left, and Wilmington in the greens. Ball is placed down inside the 45-yard line of the Crusaders, and Niswanger has the leg to get this near the end zone. Let's see if they go for that. Niswanger. That's going to go all the way on net, and it's going to be caught by Latessa. And that's normally a spot you would see Spa kick, I would assume. And again, he's one of the injured players. So Niswanger having to contribute and rush back to goal. Quakers were outshot in the first half by a count of 11-4. 4 shots for the Crusaders on goal, 2 for Wilmington, 2 saves for Latessa, and a save in net for Niswanger. 4 fouls for Wilmington, 1 for the Crusaders, and 6 offsides called against the Crusaders, as they're going to be really aggressive offensively. Kick goes all the way to Niswanger, who kicks it away. Headed out of bounds by Wilmington. Looked like intentionally as well. Cap is down, Cap is up 2-1. Wilmington cannot play a defensive style anymore. They've really got to look for their chances and kind of thrive today in capitalizing on the Crusaders' mistakes, and I'm sure that was a point of emphasis from Yost in the locker room. Don't make mistakes. Make them beat us off of their own plays. Make them develop something on their own. Don't give them anything. Especially a team like Wilmington, who is very good at capitalizing off of mistakes. Because that's what they're looking for. They're very opportunistic. They're looking for the mistakes. They don't really create their own chances. Shu Johnson with some nifty moves here. Sends it over. That one hit off of a Crusader, and that's a good job of Neiswanger to stick his ground right there as Martinson kicked it right off of a Capital player's shoulder. I think it was Suarez who it hit off of, and it deflected right Neiswanger. But the ball changed direction in the air after hitting Suarez, and a good adjustment in goal. That easily could have handcuffed him. Pushed forward to Shu Johnson again. Can he keep it in bounds? He does. Poked it towards the middle of the field, and Luckscheider is there to kick it away. Brian Luckscheider, a junior from Powell, Ohio, 6'1", 180, with Dominic Zumponi, a sophomore, 5'11", 175. Those are your two center backs. Now, in terms of other players listed as defenders on the roster, there aren't many. The only other one would be Jacob Reventlow, who we have not seen play this season, listed as a junior. And that's why you see Cam Bryant move there. And that's why you see Luckscheider in there now. They don't have any other options. Basiakos and Spa both out of this game. And Bryant's obviously still hurt from earlier. They're kind of just forced to throw what they have back there. Played back to the defense now. Booth to the middle of the field, Pulliam. And he'll go all the way back to the defense again. Now, soccer, obviously, playing out of position, it does have its, there's different things that you know as a defender that you might not know from not playing there, some different nuances, but you play defense all the way down the field anyway. This is just your kind of the last line of defense. It's not crazily playing out of position or anything like that, as opposed to maybe where if you had a bunch of centers that were hurt and you had to put a guard there, that's obviously a big matchup problem in basketball. Meanwhile, a cross kicked, it's going to stay in bounds as it had a curl on it. That was Saunders who tried to find a teammate, and it goes out of bounds now. Crusaders will throw it back in, but anyway, it's harder to attack a weakness is the point I'm trying to make in soccer, where you have two defenders back there. You can't just get a one-on-one matchup with a midfielder who's playing defense, and that's really not even that big of a deal anyway. The only problem is kind of you don't have that backline chemistry. You don't have the chemistry with the goalkeeper, and positioning is kind of the bigger deal. As long as they stay in their right positioning, they'll be fine, but not played there a lot. That's where the lack of experience kind of bites you. Whereas a disadvantage in, like I was saying, basketball, for instance, if you had a guard playing center, you could just use your center against that guard and capitalize on that mismatch. So the injury, you can kind of cover for it a little bit more, and you can also see that Cap has sent some players down more as midfielders to play more of a defensive role, such as Saunders we saw even dropping all the way back to play some defense. And usually we just see him attacking. Pulliam's been pretty good defensively as well today. This is Luckscheider keeping the pressure on. Spark trying to get it forward. Zimponi got enough of it to knock it away. Dropped back to Neiswanger, who kicks it away from a leaping Quaker trying to just knock that thing down from getting cleared up the field. Spurk has looked pretty good today. He's a freshman. Again, Not the tallest player out there, but certainly has a lot of heart and is playing really well for the Quakers. Another steal on a through ball for Wilmington. Capital hasn't really done anything this half. It's been 8 minutes and kind of another slow start, just like the first half. Martinson has the only shot of the half. It came from the Quakers at the 48-30 mark, which is the 4th minute of this half. Here's Saunders. Got it on his right foot, and there's another nice play from Osterberg. Fixes his hair before that cross. That was a lot of leg. That got all the way to Shu Johnson somehow. And it's going to go off the end line for a goal kick. Wow, that was a heck of a kick. That went about 50 yards just down the field that way. I don't even know how many yards. Almost the length of the field across, the width of the field across, I should say. Blakely looked like he was coming out. He stays in. Garrison checked in for the Quakers. Pulliam back to McDaniel now. McDaniel 1 letter short of an offensive coordinator in the NFL. Kick down in front to Suarez as the keep was out of the net, and Suarez just tried to get it towards the net, kicks it out of bounds. Garrison replaced Bissell once again. That was the same substitution we saw in the first half from the Quakers. Much quicker trigger on it this time. Kick towards midfield off the head of Pulliam. Bryant was there. Scratch that, excuse me, it's Boonsha. So I'm used to Bryant having the bright shoes. Bryant, of course, injured earlier in this game. McDaniel has it. He's got help from Saunders, who's switching fields in front of him. And not on the same page there, McDaniel and Saunders. Saunders was out in front and then tried to switch to the left. I mean, he did that because he wanted the pass to go onto his right foot. It would have been easier to receive a pass from that side of the field. We saw him shoot one at goal earlier with his left foot and missed before subbing off and was upset with himself as he was running off the field. That time tried to give himself an opportunity with his right foot. There's a left-footed shot that's knocked down off of Luckscheider and headed towards the net by Zimponi. Smart play there by Dominic. And a long pass up the field for Suarez, going to get kicked out of bounds. That time that was Hunter Steiger. And it's actually Steiger who headed it back to the goalie, not Zimponi. 10 minutes have gone by in this half. Still 2-1, the same score that we entered this half with. And Crusaders are fine with keeping it that way. But adding on one more would be wonderful. Pulliam playing it all the way back to Hunter Booth, who had to turn around and run after it. Booth kicks it off of Kaplan. Lots of room down here for Blakely if they can get across this way, but it's going to be kicked out of bounds. Went off of a Quaker immediately in that kick. And Shu Johnson comes away with it, but he is contested by Saunders. Suarez swipes in, and Shu Johnson falls over just trying to get rid of that thing and kicks it off of Suarez. Again, we've been trying to keep you updated on the scoring action across the OAC today, but we haven't had any in the two other games. Still scoreless between Baldwin Wallace and Mount Union, and between Otterbein and Ohio Northern. Looking for someone to score in either of those games. Had plenty of scoring here. Kicked up in the air and then played on the right foot of Zimpfer. Speaking of scoring, he had one of the goals earlier in the game. He had the game's first goal. 3 goals for John Carroll today, 3 for Marietta in their victories. As the goal scorers for John Carroll were Marinero, his 5th, Jimmy Matina, his 3rd, and Andrew Frank, his 2nd. We'll get you the goal scorers in that other game after this set piece from the 40. Kicked right on goal, and that's going to be a very easy save for Niswanger. as he settles under it. The 3 goals for Marietta. Ray Rott scored his 3rd, Andy Rolfs his 4th, and one of the candidates for OAC Player of the Year, Taylor Reasoner, scored his 12th already. Unbelievable. Blakely falls over, but McDaniel's able to recover the loose ball. Reasoner's 12th leads the conference. 2 players are tied for second. Luis Rivas from Otterbein. Remember that name from last year. And Matt Kikoff from Ohio Northern, who we will see this weekend, had 10 goals on the year to this point. Kikoff also has 5 assists to give him 25 points. Good for second in the conference behind Reasoner. Reasoner leads the conference in goals, points, and shots. Kind of the trifecta there. In terms of goal against average, Ohio Northern will bring the top goalkeeper in the conference well with McNeil from Ohio Northern. Set piece coming from Boonshoe here. He runs over the ball. Pulliam crosses it. Oh, that was in a good spot. It got knocked away by Latessa. I think Saunders was on the back end of that trying to get a touch on it. And here comes a counter from the Quakers, just like we saw in the first half. And Zumponi does the smart thing and just gets it out of bounds. Might have been Steiger, actually, who was the man that was trying to get a touch on that thing right before the end of that set piece. And Steiger, I think, is the man that's down right now because he collided pretty hard with the kicker, or with the goalkeeper, I should say. And this is, I don't know what you do now. You already are down 3 defenders. And Yost is pacing the sideline. I think he's trying to think of who he can even put in this game. He's going to have to put another midfielder at defense if Steiger can't stay in. Maybe he's just hoping Steiger can. I really have no clue who he would put back there. Steiger, again, colliding with Latessa on the tail end of that free kick. And it was in a really good spot right out in front of the net, and he did everything he could to try to get a touch on it and put it in. Steiger's going to have to come off. And it looks like he's calling on Tyler Washington, who plays more of an attacker for the Crusaders. Listed as a midfielder, but I don't know if he's going to be the guy to put on the outside, or if they're going to change alignments to 3 defenders, or put him in the midfield and slide someone else down. We'll see. It looks like he's just occupying the spot of Steiger right now. So you've got Luckscheider playing center back, Washington playing outer back, Bryant already injured, no other defenders available, and Zumponi and Booth, the only 2 players actually that are defenders for this team in there. The only starting defender is now Booth, and injuries continue to just pile on for the Crusaders. Wes King checking on for the Quakers for the first time. He replaces Nicholas Martinson. Martinson's looked pretty well today. Kicked up again by Washington. Looking for Saunders, I believe. This is actually Blakely. Blakely now crosses, actually shoots right at the net. And a good save made by Latessa, just standing there fearlessly waiting for that shot. Steiger is now pacing down and forth the track behind the Capitol bench right now. Throws a warm-up jersey on and continues to jog behind the bench. And he's trying to loosen up and get ready to go back in this game. Washington, meanwhile, stays in there. Another set piece coming for the Quakers inside the 35. And obviously going to have plenty of leg to put this in front of the net. Quakers looking to tie this thing up. It's a low line drive that bounces. Great save by Niswanger. Wow. Yost is not pleased that that thing hit the ground, but somehow that thing bounced right in front of the goal. And I believe it was Osterberg who put a touch on it and either hit the side of the net or hit off of Niswanger, but either way, Niswanger was in good positioning, guarding that post. And a huge break for the Crusaders. Steiger looks like he's ready to come back. And honestly, I think he's still going to be feeling some effects from the injury, but he pretty much has to play, and he knows that with how injury-riddled they are, especially at the defensive end. They need him out there, and he's going to toughen through it. Blakely, pass trying to switch fields, and shakes his head after that one. Polium gets it right back for the Crusaders, so no harm there. Played down towards McDaniel. Approaching the box, crosses, takes a shot. And it got knocked down by Berman. Sent over to Blakely. He's got room. Instead chips it for a pass attempt. And that's going to be called a corner kick, which is odd because the Crusaders were turning the other way, and now the two refs are going to conference, as the ref on this side of the field called it for the Quakers, I believe, on a goal kick. And if they're talking, it's going to be a corner. That's odd. You can kind of just read from the body language of the players what the right call is, and all the Crusaders turned around and head back up the field defensively, and the whistles tell them to turn around. So that's interesting. Steiger comes back on.
Back into the game for your Crusaders, number 5, Hunter Steiger.
Steiger replaces Washington. Corner kick coming. Headed away just like that by Burke. Goes right back to Pulliam. Crosses it again. Hits off of Osberg. And a good job by the Quakers to save themselves from a corner at least and kick it out of bounds. Under 27 minutes left to go. It is still 2-1 Crusaders out in front. Shane Rue looks like he'll be next in line to sub on. Big throw-in coming. That's in a good spot. Bounces after a couple deflections. Blakely had a chance at it, and Latessa jumps right on top of it. Didn't have any kind of chance of going in when he dove on top of it, but smothered it before it got kicked away again. And the Quakers survive a little onslaught there. Seen some good chances either side this half, but still no goals. 2-1 Cap still out in front. We have our first goal in one of the other games. It was, guess who, Ohio Northern, taking a 1-0 lead on Otterbein as they look to again move to 4-0 in conference play. Guess who scored the goal? I bet you won't. It's Matt Kinkoff, the man we were just talking about in terms of the conference leaders. He had 10 goals. He now has 11, good for second in the conference. And he's now tied for first in the conference in points with Taylor Reasoner. But actually, Reasoner's stats were already in there, actually, because he played earlier today. So, yeah, he's tied with Reasoner. Top the conference now. And the Crusaders will have fun dealing with him on Saturday. Saunders going to be whistled off offsides. He did a good job of knocking it away from Latessa, but I thought it was clearly offsides by a couple yards there. And feels like the officials like to build the suspense and swallow the whistle for a couple extra seconds when they really could just call that earlier. And the crowd was ready to react, and the bench was getting excited, but I think everyone knew that it was an offsides, just waiting for that whistle. And that is why I did not get too excited. Quakers, meanwhile, here's a quick counter off of a set piece. Sound like a broken record. Field goal's good. Nailed that thing. And that's Ethan Zimpher, who just scored the goal. I'm not sure how Wilmington's kicking game is in their football team, but That looked good. Kicked it from the right hash about 25 yards. 24-20 left to go. Kicked away by Niswanger. Punched up the field a little bit. And Suarez trying to say he didn't foul, but he tripped up Ostberg. Just out of curiosity, the place kickers for Wilmington are both 0-1 on the year. They were perfect on their extra points, so maybe worth looking at one of these soccer players as it's kicked away here by Wilmington, clearing themselves from some danger, and now another foul called. Wilmington had some cool looking uniforms. Looks like they have a new helmet for this season. It's a neon helmet with the Quaker logo outlined in black. Kind of cool. Another free kick towards the box, and it's headed right to Niswanger by Steiger. Capital, of course, beat the Quakers earlier in football, 49-27. That was the first OAC win of the year for the Crusaders, in which Brenton Walton had a big game, 179 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Walton, if you missed the news last week, had 23 yards to become the all-time leading rusher. Tied the record, I should say. And he's just a junior. I'm sitting next to Ryan Gasser here, who's correcting me right there quickly. Do you know Walton's status for this week? He's out? Yeah, he hurt his ankle, I believe, and his toe, actually. Turf toe. So that's what they're calling it. I did see him on crutches before the women's soccer game against Otterbein, which was on the same night on Saturday night. So Walton won't be in the lineup this weekend for the Crusaders on the football side of things. It's a big loss. Polium, a good kick. Steiger trying to get ahead on it. It gets headed up in the air a couple of times. And finally cleared away by the Quakers. So Walton will still need 1 more yard to break the school record. And again, he's just a junior this year, so hopefully he'll be back this year. And it is a turf toe injury. If he's not, still has a senior year to break the record. Quakers trying to kick this thing away. Good pressure from Shane Rue. And the Quakers will throw it in instead. Quick sub as Chewy Gordon's going to come on and I would think fish this thing off for the last 20 minutes or so. 21:40 left to go. He hasn't played since the first 15 minutes when he scored a goal. And Zira's back in. Zira and Gordon come in on that last substitution. Next Capital home game for football, if you're wondering, is going to be next Saturday, week from this Saturday, as they'll host John Carroll. Back to the afternoon after the fun night game against Heidelberg. Excuse me, that was against Muskingum. I don't know where Heidelberg came from. Wilmington trying to throw this thing in. Kicked up in the air on a cross, I believe. I don't know if that was intentional. Spurk sends it back towards the front of the box. And Niswanger comes out of the net to scoop it away. I think Quakers have, they had 4 shots this half, which is more than they had in the first half. Cap is up to 14 shots, still out shooting Quakers 2-1. 3 saves for Latessa and 2 for Niswanger. And Niswanger's looks pretty good. Kind of a questionable decision if he should have challenged or not on that first goal from Zimfer, as he had come a long way, but could also be blamed on the defense in front of him, kind of being caught out of position, and that, again, relates to the injuries. But ever since that first goal, it's kind of been tightened up. There's been a couple of counter opportunities that the Quakers have had, but other than that, the defense has been pretty solid. Here's Shu Johnson, and there's the defense stepping up. 2 big headers, one from Luckscheider and one from Boonshoe helping out from the midfield. That would have been perfect timing if the Quakers found a way to break through the defense just as I was talking them up. But the defense makes me look a little better than that. It's kicked all the way towards Niswanger, and he'll scoop it up. Next 3 for Capitals, kind of running the gauntlet after this game against Wilmington. They've got Ohio Northern and at Marietta at John Carroll. And those are the top 3 teams besides them in the standings right now. So we're really going to see what this team's made of over this next 3 games. And hopefully they can get healthy for them. I think that's why we see some of the players out today. Hopefully some could have gone if it was a bigger game. But who really knows the full story when they've been so injured all season already. Look at Chewy Gordon go. Gets a steal. Tried to get a call from the official. He didn't get one. And Chewy coming up a little bit lame there. Kind of limping on his leg. And that's something to monitor. And Chewy already on a minute's restriction. Oh, that's got to be something. Nothing. The Capital player hit the turf hard after some contact. No idea why that was not called. And they'll kick it away. 18 minutes left to go. Luckscheider, Boonshoe, Suarez. Come on, win that one, Mario. Couldn't get to it. And coming on from behind, this is Shane Rue, and he causes a pass that's going to go all the way to the goalkeeper. Nice job by Rue to kind of pressure and make Wilmington panic. They do just that. 17:40 left to go. Kicked up the field again. It's going to go out of bounds towards the bench. Martinson is going to come back on, and Tyler Washington replaces Cal Saunders. So Saunders comes off. Rue, Washington, and Gordon, the 3 forwards in the game right now for the Crusaders. 17 minutes left to go. Zumponi and Pulliam combining to play some defense there.
Wilmington, number 7, Nicholas Martinson.
Zumponi goes right to Shu Johnson on that header. Zimpher has it now. He's double teamed. Steiger applying some pressure, as well as Luckscheider. Here's Luckscheider. He goes down hard, and that's going to be a foul, as the Quakers are too aggressive there. This is Capital's second conference home game. They got 5 this year. Again, there's 9 games, so some years you get 5. Last year they had 4. And getting that extra home game, you really have to capitalize on your home opponents. They did the first game against Mount Union, winning 3-1. With hanging on to this game, it would be a 2-0 record at home in the OAC. The remaining home games, again, Saturday against Ohio Northern, that's the real big one that you have to capitalize on your home field. And then they'll end against Heidelberg and Baldwin Wallace at home. That Baldwin Wallace game will be on Halloween. Should be a fun one. 15-35. Crossed in. Headered by Rue. If Washington could get to it, but it actually curls away from him. Too bad that didn't have the reverse spin on it. Would have spun right onto the foot of Rue, and this game would be 3-1. Another substitute for Cap. This time it's Colton Phillips.
Crusaders, number 14, Colton Phillips.
Phillips is going to replace Suarez. I'm sure Suarez Saunders will come back on, especially Saunders. They're just trying to rest him up for the last 10 minutes or so here. That's what we've seen Yost do before. Nice move by Pulliam. Another nice move. Breakout attempt, and Chewy was off sides, and he had to come back on sides, and Pulliam kicked it right when Chewy went back, and kind of a tough break. Easily would have been off sides. Spurk had a header. Controlled it to his teammate. Spurk cuts up the field now. And Wilmington killing some time again. They really got to go here. 14-20. Deep ball for Shu Johnson. Headed away by Steiger. Boonshoe drops it. Pulliam keeps his footing somehow. Went for a pass, faked it, came back out. He's got room down the near sideline here if he wants to get it to Booth, and now he does. Booth surveying his options. And kicked away. Good defense applied by Zira. Always tough to kind of survey your options and see players cutting in front of the net as you set up for your cross. You're looking down while you dribble. You kind of have to keep your head up and down at the same time. Gordon controlling it in the corner, keeping it in play, and now it's kicked out of bounds. I went to basketball earlier for an analogy. You can kind of do that again. I mean, when you're dribbling in a basketball, it's much easier to not have to look at your hands while you're dribbling. Can't really do the same with a soccer ball. Some can, but for the most part, you're going to have to keep your head down and then look up the field, come back down, control your dribble. Very hard to handle and get a good cross off. Booth is one of the best at it. That's the point I was trying to get to. Under 13 minutes left to go. Zumponi has it. That goes off a Quaker, and Booth will let it go. And he'll take his time as the ball goes away. And in no rush, as he shouldn't be, as the Crusaders are leading. Sheldon. Gordon gets it over to Rue. Rue still dancing with it. Over to Spurk. Do we know the origin of Chewy? We'll have to do some investigating on that at a later time. Crossed out in front of the net. Niswanger couldn't get to it, but there was no Quaker there to get a touch. And that is a huge break. .12:05 left to go, and a corner kick coming for the Quakers. And you don't know how many of these opportunities you're going to get as the game goes towards its last few minutes. 11:50. Cross towards the far post. It gets headed by a Quaker, and it goes off of a Quaker. Shu Johnson actually deflected that away from the net, not intentionally, but it was hit off of a header into him and then out of bounds. Trying to see who got a piece of the header. It was a defender, I believe. It was Martinson. It was Martinson. Steve Bissell checks back in, and Saunders replaces McDaniel.
For Wilmington, number 11, Steve Bissell.
So the story we have as regarding Chewy is that he hates the name Sheldon, which is his actual name, Sheldon Gordon, which I think is a good name. That's a good name. But he kind of went with the nickname Chewy. We don't know the official origin of that, but his mom is apparently approved with Chewy, and that's what everyone calls him. It's just such a strange name. There's got to be a story behind it there. Ryan typed over to me that it's developed to a nice name because of the Big Bang Theory, referring to Sheldon. I don't know. Sheldon Gordon just sounds like an athlete name to me. Maybe because it sounds like Melvin Gordon. I don't know. 10:24 left to go. Well, we'll call him Chewy because he wants to be. If he does something wrong, I guess we'll call him Sheldon then, and he'll know. 10-12 left to go, and it's kicked away by the defense again. Kind of just sweeping out of the box right now. Here's Saunders on a huge run. Tried to dribble it to himself, and he'll just give up on that ball immediately. I don't. I'm not gonna try. He said, "Am I a Star Wars fan?" And then kind of went for a Chewbacca noise, but I'm certainly not gonna try it. 9:45 left to go. I've actually have never seen Star Wars. You know that? Never seen any of the Star Wars movies. I know most of the references because I alive. Ryan says neither has he. So I think we're in the big minority there. It's across midfield. We need to get you a headset, Ryan. I'm reading off of a computer screen while he's responding, as I'm watching the game as well. Ball that gets kicked off of Booth, and Spurk again, another Wilmington player, comes in the way of a shot or cross attempt, and it goes out of bounds. Chewy sound effect coming for next goal. Why don't we get one? You got one on YouTube popped up? Oh, that's awesome. We should have had that ready earlier, unfortunately, because Gordon did score earlier. You guys should play that through the speakers here at the stadium. Oh, man. 8:45 left to go. Kicked away. Nice swinger, and it's on the foot of Gordon. Pulliam gets tripped there, and there's a whistle. And normally I don't root for a specific player to score, but I'm actually really hoping Gordon scores here in the last 8 minutes. 8:20 left to go. They said he was on a minute restriction at about 60%. He played 15 minutes in the first half, and he came on, I think, at the 26-minute mark. I actually can look that up real quick. As a set piece is kicked towards the box. A Quaker hits the ground, whistles blow, and a foul called against the Crusaders, and it came from the official on this side of the field as opposed to the one right in front of the play. He came in the 69th minute at the 68:06 mark to be exact, so if he stays in for the last 8 minutes, that'll be 32 minutes this half, 15 the first half, and that's 47 total minutes. There's the Chewbacca noise. That did not sound that good. It was pretty bad quality, honestly. I heard it in my headphone, and I was wondering what that was. But Chewy's played about 47 minutes in this one. They said he's at 60%, so he played about 50% of the minutes at least. .707 left to go. That was kind of a weird sequence there in the corner. Gordon drew contact and then just hit ground like a snow angel. Waited for a whistle. Cap is in the corner with it right now. Gordon is just holding on to it. And the Crusaders will throw it in. And the Quakers quickly give back to Gordon, telling him to throw it in. They don't want him stalling right now. 6:45 left to go. Kicked into Gordon again. Gordon controls it in the corner. And the Quakers kick it away a few times. Zumponi keeping the pressure on. And kicked away up the field. Here comes a counterattack. Steiger gets a good header. And luckily Steiger was able to come back in this game after being hurt. He's still going to be a little sore tomorrow probably. There's a really good one. 6 minutes left to go. Nice move by Saunders. And another inside move. It's kicked away this time. Oh, and down hard goes Pulliam. No foul called. It's actually not Pulliam on the ground. Pulliam makes the pass to Rue. Rue with a nice move. He shoots. It's a shot that gets deflected over the crossbar. I think it was Mario Suarez who was down, who must have snuck back into the game on me. Sure enough, Gordon comes off for McDaniel here. The Chewbacca sound effects continuing. So McDaniel replaces Gordon. Cap again just killing time in the Wilmington zone. They need to get something going, do the Quakers. 5:20 left to go. So He played about 27 minutes this half, 15 in the first half, so 42 minutes in this game. There's minute restriction. I guess that's not too bad. 5 minutes left to go. He made the most of his minutes, obviously scoring in this game. He's scored in back-to-back games now for Cap, and again, I've said it twice already, but if this is him at 60%, love to see what he can do at 100%, and hopefully he gets to that point this year. Hopefully this team can just be all healthy at the same time, too. That would be quite a concept. 4:35 left to go. Rue has played some quality minutes here this second half. He's still in there. And this ball's been inside the Wilmington 20 for almost 3 minutes or so. They cannot kick it out. And then Cap doesn't even really go for score opportunities. They're just eating it. They did have the one shot from Rue when he split two defenders. Kind of a missed header there and thrown right back in by the Crusaders. Rue, again, towing the baseline over to McDaniel. And I think Rue is trying to score, but no one else really is. Quakers have got it across midfield. This could be their last chance. Shu Johnson setting up a cross. They've got to get something up in the air here. Too much dribbling. They play it all the way back to their defense. Trying to set up another cross. This time it's Osberg. And it's kicked away by Rue. Rue slowing down. And kicks it off of a Quaker. And now we have the sound effect made. That is great. Kicked in front to McDaniel. I was going to say, he was offsides by about 5 yards. And again, a late whistle. Love that. It's kind of like an ump show, or it was the emphatic strike third call. Just wait for everyone to get a little bit excited and then pull that whistle out. 2:45 left to go. Cross towards the box for Wilmington. They get a piece of it. They keep it in play. Cross towards the middle. And Bundu's there again. He's been fantastic defensively from that midfield position today. That was a good chance from the Quakers, having it in the box. Osberg again trying to get it on net. Shot towards the goal over Neiswanger. Hits the crossbar. The rebound went into the goal, but that wouldn't hit the field goal post, not the crossbar. Should say the field goal crossbar. Over the net. Good thing the refs saw that, or we would have had a heck of a controversy here. It rebounded perfectly right to, I believe, Spurk, who shot it in the back of the net, but Neiswanger wasn't even trying because he knew it was out of bounds. Under 2 minutes to go. The Quakers have gotten a couple opportunities here. They'll try to get one or two more. That was a handball that was missed again. Second or third of those tonight. Headed towards the goal. McDaniel giving chase. And at the very least, 10 seconds killed off. Headed up in the air. Off the forehead of Pulliam and went backwards, though. Osberg jumping on in it. Osberg drops it for Berman. Berman to this near side. Bissell try to cross. It gets hit down, and here we go. Corner kick coming for Wilmington. And they are hustling hard to get this in play quickly, but I would take my time. This is their last chance. Header towards the goal. Neiswanger makes the save. Got a good kick, so I guess you don't blame him for going quickly there, but I think I would have set up like that was my last go at it. 45 seconds left to go. Goes off of Osberg. And a throw in by Cap. They just throw it all the way down the field into the corner. McDaniel gives chase. 30 seconds left. 36 seconds. Got a little ahead of myself. Suarez almost fell over. Stays on his feet. Rue's making a cut down here. McDaniel has a chance anyway. McDaniel puts it through the field goal uprights. He was trying for the football team there, too. The time is still running. 18 seconds. I think he was just trying to launch that thing. He didn't really care if it went in, but If he took his time there, that was an easy goal. Shouldn't matter as McDaniel gets it a steal again. Rue tried to send it down the field. Wilmington gets a block. 4 seconds left, kicked up in the air. They're not going to have a chance. And Capital hangs on to a 2-1 lead. It was a heck of a game. And let's just do a quick wrap-up right now. In terms of our final statistics, 16 shots. As we get the sound of, at least let me cue it first. 16 shots for Capital, 6 on goal, 3 saves. 10 shots for Wilmington, 4 goals, and 4 saves. Nicewanger gets the win. Latessa gets the goal. The game-winning goal goes to Mario Suarez, who scored the game's second goal for Capital. The first goal of the game was scored by Ethan Zimper. And Ryan, the first goal for Capital to tie the game was scored by Sheldon Chewy Gordon. And there's your sound effect, which is going to scare some people here at the stadium when we bust that out for the first time. It's already converted to an MP3, so be on the lookout for that. If you are coming, maybe warn some people because it's going to be really loud and scary probably for some people. Give some kids some nightmares as well, which is all in good fun. The Crusaders get the win today, move to 3-0-1 in conference play. It did not look good in the game's first 10 minutes, but they played a heck of a 80 minutes after that, and a good second half there. Credit to the defense, credit to Dominic Zimponi and Brian Luckscheider for stepping in for some injuries. Cam Bryan as well before he went down, and they looked pretty good back there in the center back. Checking in on those scores one last time. 5 minutes left between Baldwin Wallace and Mountain Union. Still scoreless. Looks like they're headed for overtime. Ohio Northern 2, Otterbein 0. And that's going to set up a battle for first place as J.J. Fortner also scored for Otterbein. Otterbein will be 4-0. Excuse me, Ohio Northern will be 4-0 to face off with 3-0-1 Capital. John Carroll, Marietta right there in the picture too at 3-1 apiece. With the loss, Otterbein is going to fall to 1-2-1. They'll still hold on to 6th place for the time being. If anyone comes away with a win from that Mountain Union Baldwin Wallace game, they will move into 6th place. Tied for 5th actually with Heidelberg and bump Otterbein down out of the playoff spot as that race for the 6th spot is just starting to heat up. We hope you join us Saturday. Ohio Northern will be here 2 o'clock. Start time for that game. Capital will look to move to 4-0-1 and get into sole possession of first place with a victory. Good games all around for today from the Crusaders. We'll give our player of the game to Mario Suarez for that game-winning goal and a hat tip to Chewy Gordon and Nicewanger as well for some nice games out of those two. That'll just about do it from Bernlohr. Again, your next broadcast will be Saturday at 2 o'clock against Ohio Northern. We hope to see you then. I'm Jimmy Bloomfield. Thanks for tuning in for another Crusaders victory here on the Capital Sports Network.